Alrighty, guys, before we get into the next thing, we are going to have to switch things up a little bit, and Sam Lassio is going to be joining us. What's up, Sam?
Hey everybody, how you doing?
But unfortunately, we got to say goodbye to Will. He's not going to be joining us for this next part. So, Will, anything that you want to plug?
Yeah, feel free to follow me on Twitter, Will Molinar 75, and you can check out my novel series Murder Haven on Amazon. Thank you.
Alrighty, guys, go check that stuff out. Thanks for joining us, Will.
Rock on Jurassic World, baby. It's coming.
Woo! So, continuing on here, what we're going to do to switch this up a little bit and to kind of make up for, as I said before, how haphazard and crazy this edition is, we're going to talk about Dinosaur, but since Sam didn't get a chance to talk about Land Before Time, we're going to talk about that here, and we're actually going to throw you an extra bone with Jurassic Park 3. And when we do that, then we're going to kind of backtrack a little bit, get his opinions about Jurassic Park 1 and 2. The reason why we're going to combine Dinosaur and Land Before Time is Dinosaur is well, let's get this out of the way. Dinosaur is made in 2000. It's a Disney film. One of the things that we were talking about in the previous thing is that Land Before Time felt like a Disney film, and that the animation and stuff from 1988 doesn't really hold up as much, but there's also a nostalgia factor. Now, Dinosaur, of course, we weren't little kids, and the CGI is a lot different. It's a lot better. Not as good as it would be now, but of course, that's a big gap. 12 years.
Yeah.
It's still damn near the same movie. And it's crazy. I've seen Jurassic Park, a million times and stuff. I watched Jurassic Park 2 a bunch of times too. And the only two movies out of this list that I hadn't seen were Dinosaur and Land Before Time. And I decided to watch one right after the other randomly, when preparing for this. I watched Dinosaur first. Went through the whole movie. I'll spoil it right now. I'm not a big fan. It's kind of bland. Then I watched Land Before Time immediately afterward, and I was just like, I'm watching the exact same film, except with, worse animation. Land Before Time starts off with destruction of the dinosaurs, and you would think that would be the end, but it isn't, because the dinosaurs have to go and escape the elements and escape the giant T-Rex and whatever, and they need to find salvation. Dinosaur starts off with the birth of the titular dinosaur. Aladar is his name. And the parents get killed. And the whole, herd gets broken up and stuff. And it's like, all right, well, what happens in Land Before Time? Shit gets fucked up, and the parents get killed and stuff. And Land Before Time has, the meteors and stuff. Dinosaur waits a little bit to get into it. But Aladar gets adopted by a group of monkeys, and they grow up, and then, bam, the meteor hits. So both movies start off with a whole bunch of death, and then a meteor fucks everything up, and then they have to go find salvation. And it's ridiculous, the parallels. When it comes to Land Before Time, they've got, what's the name of the T-Rex in that?
In what? Land Before Time?
Yeah.
Sharptooth.
Sharptooth, yeah.
Yep.
In Dinosaur, they've got the Carnotaur. And there's a couple Carnotaurs, yeah. But essentially, the Carnotaur is just big monster
Sharptooth.
T-Rex.
What was he called? Kron?
No, that's a different one. That's the brother of the female, whatever Aladar is.
Wow. What was did they name it? Maybe they didn't.
Double
They were
check.
just called Carnotars.
I think that they just say that they're the Carnotaurs.
Okay.
Oddly enough, Frank Welker in both movies. Frank Welker does Spike in Land Before Time, and he does the Carnotaurs. And a Velociraptor and a couple other ones in this one.
You know who didn't do any voices from the original movie?
Who?
The little girl who did Ducky.
Wait.
Oh, did you guys not talk about that?
No, I don't know what. Wait,
The
what
little,
happened?
the little. Okay, remember Ducky in Land Before Time? She was like, "Yep, yep, yep."
Yeah.
That little girl was murdered by her father.
Wow.
Yeah, she didn't do the voice for Ducky for any of the sequels that came out. She was murdered,
That sucks.
and I'm pretty sure, like on her tombstone, it says, "Yep, yep, yep."
Well, that's kind of fucked up.
Little girl died. Yep, yep, yep.
Oddly enough, though, Land Before Time, when we were going through that, I was like, I don't recognize any of these names. For Dinosaur, I don't recognize pretty much any of them except for Frank Welker, the same in the first thing. Hayden Panettiere is in it. She's
Really? Probably
Aladar's.
something small.
She's one of the little monkey things.
Oh, the little lemurs.
Yeah, lemurs. That's what they were. Yeah, the little monkey guys, lemurs. And Juliana Margulies is the female love interest. But I don't, off the top of my head, I don't recognize the name D.B. Sweeney. I don't recognize Alfred Woodard, Ossie Davis. Ossie Davis sounds familiar, but the voice acting in this is weird. It's like, what's so odd is there are characters in this that sound so like racist black, like an impression of it. And
Are you talking like the lemur characters?
not only the lemurs, but a couple of the other characters too. The older Brontosaurus, I think she is, Brachiosaurus, Baleen. Yeah, she
No such
does.
thing as a brontosaurus.
But there's another older one, Ema, and she's just kind of like, "Oh, child," and shit, and it's like, oh man, like,
She's played by Della Reese, which is a black woman.
which yeah, it makes sense, but it's like, then the lemurs sound like it too, like the main, the father lemur, Ossie Davis, he is just kind of like stereotypical like New Orleans kind of a thing and stuff like that, and I'm expecting them through the movie to be like, sugar and stuff, and like
Right.
it really throws me off. But it's an odd movie. Like that's not the only thing that stood out to me as being weird. Like I mentioned before, the repetitious kind of Land Before Time stuff, very bland. The same kind of movie and stuff like that. Very very repetitive. It's just. We've got to make it to salvation. Oh no, one of the older ones is straggling behind. Wait. Oh, well, now that's not the older ones. It's a little one. Wait. Ah, fuck, a Carnotaur. Like,
See, I always thought. See, you had said that we weren't little kids when Dinosaur came out. I was kind of. I wasn't little, but I was getting there. Because, like, the movie came out when I was 10. So, fair enough, I was a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
I was a kid. But I remember even when the movie was, like, brand new and it was, like, showing trailers and stuff for it, I had no interest in this movie. Not at all. And I loved Land Before Time as a kid. But I will agree, watching it again, it's like, why did I love it? It's like, I only know that I loved it because I'm like, oh, I remember that when I was a kid, I loved that. And that's about it. Like, it's not like the story was fantastic or it was like a timeless tale of family or something like that. It was just like, yeah, I love them tree stars.
oh, it's funny. That's one of the only things I said positive about Land Before Time was Tree Star.
Yeah, and the fact that he had like a Native American name. Like, I'd expect like some Cherokee Indian on a reservation being called Littlefoot.
Did you agree though? Sarah is a bitch.
Oh God, yes. Like, how she? You know what? But she's the perfect example of a child that hates their parent, but is exactly like them. And no matter what they do to try to be better than their parent, they just turn into their parent. You know what I mean? Like, kids who grow up in broken homes who are, like, beat as children, so then they bully people. But then, like, they hate their parents, but then they become their parents when they're older. I feel like Sarah is gonna be like that just bitch mother who, like, never lets her kids do anything, even though that's exactly what her father does now.
Yeah, she followed in their footsteps too. They became fossils. So did she. But at least Nira in Dinosaur, I guess Sarah is a love interest for Littlefoot, right? Kind of.
Yeah,
At the very least, she's like
yeah,
the
yeah.
main female character.
They do have like I know in the sequels, like they hint that like maybe they like each other, but like it never like becomes anything because they're not supposed to be like teenagers. They're supposed to be kids, so it's not like they're gonna like fucking make out or something.
Right. Plus, trikes can't be with long necks and whatever.
They're very, very racially charged.
Very much so. It's odd that that's the racially charged thing, and then there's the racist characters in Dinosaur. But at least Nira in this Dinosaur film, she is a much better love interest because she seems like a not a pain in the ass. But,
Right.
It's weird. It's like you watch the same exact movie, and then it's like the beginning of this, or was it the beginning? I think it was the beginning. There's music that sounds like it's the Lion King. It's just like
Yeah. And I heard that like the settings were actually real, but like then everything else was CGI. So like when they're in a desert or like a forest or something that's actually real.
Huh.
I don't know. I
Yeah,
mean,
I didn't look too much into the CGI because unlike Jurassic Park, where I was like, I want to know even more than I ever knew. This one was like, I watched it, it's done. Like, you know.
right.
But I am kind of curious what the lyrics are for the third Lion King ripoff, because it's just like, you know, everybody knows the Lion King theme, and if you play those back to back, it's like you watched the Lion King and said, we need Lion King music in here. Okay, well, we're not going to do the actual effort into like translating African languages and stuff. Just start singing stuff and
Right. As a kid, like it didn't.
Mumbala, Chakaka, Black Panther, something like, you know, like really annoying. And you know, it's a shame that that happens around one of my least favorite parts of the movie too, which is the mating scene that happens in there. They did this whole thing, this whole subplot that goes nowhere about the lemurs, and have like a big like a mating ritual, and the one who's kind of like a surrogate brother to Aladar is like a dork, and he doesn't get picked. And then it's like, all right, well, there's no payoff, and then until the very, very end, where it's just like, hey, we found some other lemurs, I'm gonna go get laid. Really annoying, but that leads into my favorite part of the movie, which is probably the part that a lot of people, especially kids, didn't like at all, which is the meteor shower.
Was it like? See, the problem is when I saw the movie, like not the film itself. Yeah, spoiler. I didn't actually see this movie. I just like Wikipedia'd the fucking thing because I remember it as a kid, and I remember having like some of the toys that would be like in like fast food things. Like I had one of the main like the bad dinosaur, like a hand puppet kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like I remember as a kid, I thought based on the trailers and the TV spots, I thought the movie was about a dinosaur with lemur friends surviving the extinction of the dinosaurs. And it apparently had nothing to do with that.
It is and it isn't. It's like
I thought this was like the meteor strike, like the asteroid. And
no,
apparently it was just a meteor shower.
It's like that happens, and then that's what it's same thing as Land Before Time. That happens, and then that's what spawns them to go, well, we need to find a new area because ours is fucked.
Did they really just like not? Did they not watch The Land Before Time when they made this, or did they watch it and just go, I could do that better?
I think that's what they did.
Yeah.
Like it comes off as we need to make Land Before Time, but I like lemurs. So it's
like
just,
the lemurs have these really creepy looking eyes.
They do. It's not a good movie, and I said before I don't like Land Before Time either. So I gave this like I don't know, like a 4 out of 10. Like I liked it better than Land Before Time to be able to sit and watch it, but that was mostly because it was easier to watch because of the advancements in CGI and stuff.
Yeah, it kind of looks like the Carnotaurs are probably the best part of the movie.
They are, because they look badass. And like Aladar is better than Littlefoot because Littlefoot's like childish and annoying. And
I feel like
Aladar
this is just
is
Littlefoot grown up.
Yeah, it seems like it. Like more mature, and that's it. So,
but instead of straight dinosaurs, here's some mammals thrown in there.
Mm-hmm. And let's make a
But, like,
Brachiosaurus an old woman that, like, if they were going to do, like, a live-action version of this or something, she'd be played by, like, Helen Mirren or something.
I feel like also they were like, alright, we're gonna do this movie, and it's really overplayed with a T-Rex, but we want a T-Rex. Is there a T-Rex that has, like, badass horns? Why, actually, yes. And they're like, alright, put that one in there.
Sweet. Okay, well, we need to have them kill a character, so let's create Bruton so he can die.
That'll really show them that these guys mean business.
Yeah, because they're killing a guy named Brute. Like, yeah, they fucked up the tough guy. It's just not
Now,
a great film.
In Land Before Time, they never actually... they're able to get away and, like, seemingly defeat him, but they never really beat Sharptooth. He always comes back in some way. Like, do they actually beat the Carnotars?
It gets knocked off a cliff.
Alright, that's beating it.
So
Sharptooth, it's like, hey, it looks like he fell off a cliff, or like, hey, he fell into, like, a hole into a cave, and, like, we can escape. But it's like, even though when they show he's supposed to be dead, like, in later ones, maybe it's a different Sharptooth, because there's more than just one Tyrannosaurus Rex in the world.
mm-hmm.
But it always just seems like, look, T-Rex.
Well, it's like the Disney death thing. Like,
Yeah.
villains die from falls all the time. It's ridiculous.
Hans Zimmer. Oh, why did I say Hans Zimmer? Fucking Hans Gruber.
Yeah, Hans Zimmer's gonna die from a fall.
Probably. He's getting up there in age.
You've heard it here first, everybody. If Hans Zimmer, falls down a crevice or something like that, spoiler.
Yeah. I mean, he's what, in his late 50s by now? I mean, he
Something
could
like
fall. Feel like one of those, like, Life Alert commercials.
So yeah, not a big fan of it, but I liked it better than Land Before Time. But again, that's not saying too much because I don't have that nostalgia factor.
Yeah, and I have the nostalgia factor and technically didn't watch Dinosaurs, so I automatically like Land Before Time better.
Yeah. So we're going to give you guys a little extra here. We're going to throw Jurassic Park 3 into the mix. We watched them. Why not, right? So instead of doing a 4-reel movie club, this has now been bumped up to a 5-reel movie club, and the pun doesn't make any more sense anymore. We are going to continue on here with the 5th part of the 4-reel movie club, Jurassic Park 3. In the next part, as I mentioned before, YouTube, you click on the next video, iTunes and Stitcher. All you got to do is sit back, relax, and we will be right back.